Hello and welcome back to episode 8 of F1 Manager at Alpine Career Mode here on the Andrew Plays channel. If you're new here, please do leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're looking forward to this series continuing. And leave a comment. Where do you think we're going to finish in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix? We do have our new chassis on one of our cars. It is on Alonso's car. The one for Ocon is being built. However, the next one is going to be due in 5 days. So it will be here for the next Grand Prix. But unfortunately, it's not arrived in time for Azerbaijan. So we will have it for Canada on both cars. And we've also started to develop a new set of side pods, which was kind of the next thing that we had to do. We've used all of our remaining hours on that. But on the flip side, I think there's 20 days until we get our next set of available hours. 17 days until we get our next set of available hours. So that will fall between Canada and Britain, and we can start developing probably more towards the Belgian Grand Prix. But that'll be what our next target will be, and we might well try and get a new front wing in time for that, because Belgian Grand Prix, you definitely want a good front wing. Hopefully with the improvements that we've made, we might be able to challenge Mercedes a bit more in this race than we have been in Monaco. It didn't go well for us at Monaco, unfortunately. Spain was a little bit better for us. Obviously Ocon did really well there. But hopefully Azerbaijan might suit us a bit more than Monaco did, and we can get a good performance out of these two. We'll head into the race weekend, and as usual, I'll see you for qualifying. So we have finished with practice here at Azerbaijan. In practice 1, Piastri and Ocon were 10th and 11th respectively. P2 it was 12th and 15th, and then in P3 it was 14th and Ocon was last, but with the fastest lap. He binned it on his first flying lap in practice. And yeah, Alonso missed out on P1 and still has better track acclimatization than Ocon. Bit of a disaster for Ocon, if we're being honest. However, what's not a disaster is 97% confidence in the setup for Fernando Alonso. Ocon is at 91%. We've made a very small change in the hopes that we can knock it up one more. It was only from changing the front wing though. So if it doesn't take his confidence up, we can just knock it back down and be absolutely fine. As usual, I'll see you towards the end of either Q1 or Q2. Depends how comfortable we are in Q1. Hopefully, we'll be very comfortable and not need to show you. We have left Alonso in the pits at the end of Q1. We're letting Ocon put in another time, although doesn't look like he's going to be improving. This is a set of tyres that he's already been out on twice, so wasn't to be expected. More just to give him an extra run, given that he missed out in P3. As you can see, we're easily going to be through to Q2 with both cars, with 8th and 10th place finishes. And as I'm recording this, the Dutch Grand Prix has been red flagged in qualifying because of pigeons. And if that's not in the game when we get to the Dutch Grand Prix, then you can expect to never see a video on F1 Manager on this channel again, because quite frankly, that's the best thing that's ever happened in F1. And I like the sport, but that is the best thing that's ever happened. Through to Q2 we go. And here we are for Q2. Ocon currently sat in 9th, Alonso up in 5th. Alonso should definitely be safe with the time that he's already got, but we're going to send him out again. He is right behind Ocon, which doesn't favour Alonso's chances. I think he's a bit too close, although Ocon going orange in the first sector, as does Alonso. And given that Perez and Hamilton are still in the bottom 5, this could be very problematic for Esteban Ocon. I think the rest of the people in there won't affect us too much. Tsunoda was out on track as everybody else started leaking out of the pit lane. He was only just making it into the pit lane, so he is already done. He's already out. Sainz goes second fastest. Mick Schumacher remains ninth. Russell moves up, looking at the people crossing the line now. Here comes one of the Alpha Tauris. That must be Gasly. Here comes Ocon. He's gone green in sector 2. So hopefully he's going to put himself just above Gasly. Would be perfect. Ocon doesn't move up. Perez knocks Ocon out of qualifying. Hamilton also moves up. Magnussen and Zhou could still knock Alonso out. No, they can't. Alonso through in P9. Ocon is starting from P13. Ocon starting from P13 on the grid. And there we have confirmation. Ocon is out. So it's all down to Fernando Alonso to try and do us proud in Q3. So we're here towards the end of Q3. Alonso's back out on track for his final flying lap. And we've got him in P9. So he's struggling to get up the leaderboard at the moment. He's got Gasly just ahead of him. He's gone green in sector 1. So that's a positive start. We just need a couple more good sectors to come together for him here. Flies down the...
some comments when you're back in the garage and plugged in.
Why are we talking to Ocon? He's not even in this car anymore. That's really thrown me off. Alonso coming through the final sector. He's going green in sectors 1 and 2. No improvement from Bottas or Magnussen. And a slight improvement for Perez, but not enough to move up a slot. Alonso crosses the line and moves himself up above Bottas and Gasly. However, Gasly is going to be the last man to cross the line. We've got the Ferraris crossing the lines now, and they can't move above Verstappen. Can Hamilton have an impact? No, he can't. Can Gasly have an impact? Moves above Bottas, but stays behind Alonso. So it's going to be P7 for Alonso and P13 for Ocon. Not a bad result for us in qualifying there.
The grid is packed and there's electricity in the air. But there's no surprises in that. It's race day.
Although we didn't see a standout performance from Alpine during qualifying, everything's still open to them during this race. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. And the weather is sunny here today, apart from a few clouds. Let's hope they remain scattered on the horizon.
But for now though, let's get ready for all the action of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
So it is race time now, and let's have a look at the strategy options. So we can go soft to hards. That could be a good shout, actually. So we'll consider that one. For Ocon, we probably need to be a little bit more of a long run and hope we can rely on a safety car, perhaps. Maybe we go for an aggressive two-stop. Let's have a look at what tyres he's got available to him. So he's only got the one set of mediums and one set of hards. That's not ideal. I would have liked to have had another set of mediums. That's my own fault, don't get me wrong. Maybe that would have been a better idea for us. Kind of reduces our chance of being able to do a aggressive two-stop, because we can't be that aggressive given that we've only got one set of mediums and one set of hards. So maybe what we'll actually do is we'll go medium to hards. Could we swap them around, perhaps? Could we go hards to mediums? Let's have a little look. Not really. Not really. I think we'll go with the medium to hards. We can probably get him to do an extra few laps on the mediums, because our new strategy for Ocon, we're going to send him out hards to softs in hopes of the safety car, because I feel like Azerbaijan does tend to get safety cars, and we can actually have a look at that, of course, if we go into here, time considerations. So in the last few seasons, there's been one race with no safety cars and 2 races with 2 safety cars, and then a race with a virtual safety car as well. I think it's worth us taking the chance of there being a safety car. We're going to go with Ocon, the long strategy, try and get him track position by being on the hards, and then go to the softs towards the end. Alonso, we're going to go the opposite and try and attack from the start. And hopefully this comes off well for us. I'm going to go watch the end of qualifying in the Dutch Grand Prix, and then I'll be back to commentate over the race. I'm back with you in a couple of seconds for you, in a few minutes for me.
So here we go with the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's lights out
and off we go for the for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Verstappen leads into the first corner. Alonso is battling with Russell. Can he stay ahead of him? I think they're side by side at the moment, going up the straight, and he has pulled ahead of him. He's having a little look at getting Hamilton as well into the corner, and he's done it with absolute ease. Lovely start for Alonso there. What's going on with Ocon behind?
Yep.
Ocon is battling with the heart of Mick Schumacher. Let's have a little look at the tyres. Ocon, the only one who's opted for the hards off the start. So it is going to be a case of trying to keep track position for Ocon towards the end of the Grand Prix and hoping for the best for him. Whereas Alonso, because he's qualified a bit higher, we've been able to go a bit more aggressive with him early on. Ocon, I'm just hoping more than anything, his pace generally is very good. So my thinking is, if he can just keep himself high up the pack as everyone else starts to pit out of his way, slipstream off the leaders perhaps, and then find himself late on with a chance to push himself up an extra couple of positions towards the end, would be absolutely perfect for us. Alonso is... we're going to turn him aggressive, try and get him away from Hamilton a little bit more.
Okay.
If we can break DRS from Hamilton, that would be fantastic for Alonso. Ocon's having a little look at an overtake on Magnussen into turn one. Not quite able to do so. And he's going to drop another attempt as we come into what's turn 3. Round the outside. Can he make it stick into turn 4? And I think he's done it. I've clicked the wrong camera. He has done it. Very good from Ocon. We're going to drop him down to standard and balanced. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we've got Alonso staying behind Perez. He's broke DRS on Hamilton. If he can kind of stick where he is at the minute,
DRS disabled. DRS disabled.
that would be perfect for us.
Copy that.
DRS enabled this lap.
So this is where he's getting DRS off Perez. He's gone for the overtake. We almost don't want him to go for the overtake here, if we're being completely honest, because it allows Hamilton the possibility to get back into the battle. And down this straight is where it's going to be dangerous for him. Oh, wow. He's just held Perez off. I did not expect that. In this case, go for it, Alonso. It's all you. Ocon has took Bottas. I'm guessing this is going to be just down the straight. Pulls out alongside him. And, yeah, takes him down the straight. Nothing too spectacular about that. Bottas is coming back at him on the following lap. And does go back past him. And Alonso is side by side with Perez and does him down the straight. Fantastic for Alonso, and Bottas is Ocon is going back past Bottas. I can't get my words out. And what we're going to do now, we're going to tell Ocon, go aggressive, try and get him on the back of Gasly.
Copy.
And then that would give us a really good position to kind of start to then sit down, just let time go by, while he's sat there. At the moment, Alonso is off Verstappen, but ahead of Perez. He's in a good position there. Ocon not quite able to get into the DRS zone for Gasly, which means he's going to have Bottas. No, it's Magnussen who's behind him now. But Magnussen's going to be all over Bottas down this straight. Alonso's held off Perez. Ocon has held off Magnussen going into that first corner, and now down the second straight, he's not going to be able to, but he does hold off Bottas, so mixed results for us here. Alonso is behind Perez, but that won't do us any harm to sit behind him for a little bit. At the moment, we've kind of got Alonso and Perez battling with each other lap by lap. However, it is pulling us away from Hamilton, which I'm quite surprised about, first of all. Meanwhile, Ocon is currently in 11th. He's following Lando Norris. This isn't the key part of the race for Ocon, though. Alonso, it's definitely the key part of the race for. And he is doing a fantastic job at the moment in this battle with Perez. And as I say, it's pulling them away from Hamilton, which is perfect for us. We're going to have to tell Ocon to stop. We told Ocon to go for a more balanced approach to the tyres, because otherwise we're in danger of him dropping back a bit too far. We're going to get Alonso to push because he's dropped out of DRS on Perez at the moment, and we don't want to allow Hamilton into that battle if we can. I'm starting to almost be worried about the fact that we're sending Alonso onto the hards, because the way they're performing for Ocon at the moment is very concerning. I don't think I can get Alonso to the end on mediums. Well, Alonso's going to have to go to the hards, but then I think everybody's going to have to, and I think where this is going to benefit Ocon will be when he gets onto the softs. He may well be able to really charge through a few cars. That's kind of my hope at the moment. If we have a look at the tyres, a lot of people have gone for mediums. We've kind of took the chance with Alonso by going on softs, and they are starting to go off now. But on the flip side, we're going to get the undercut on the guys ahead of us. Surely they must be doing medium to hards, is what I'm thinking. So hopefully it will still pay off in the long run. But at the moment we are struggling. It's going to be Alonso pitting on his next lap, and we can't pit him a lap early when we're already pitting him this early. He will come in at the end of this lap, however, onto the hards. Ocon is currently sat 12th. He's just gone past a few people that have pitted. You can see Gasly's come out onto the hards. So other cars are going onto the hards, as you can see there. Here comes Alonso for his pit stop. Is Russell following him? Russell is not following him in. I thought Russell was on softs. I think it must have been maybe Gasly. Would he have been in there? I think it would have been. So we're kind of looking at where's Gasly for whether this has worked for us. We've got Ocon coming around the corner here. Alonso's coming out just behind Ocon. So that works well for us now. Hopefully we can have these guys work together to get back up the field a little bit. So at the moment what we've got is Ocon leading Alonso. The cars ahead are starting to pit. Oh, we've lost out big time to Hamilton with Alonso. It's going to be Russell who's pitting next. We need to swap these guys. I'm not liking how Alonso's going here. We have swapped them. I think that's the smart. I think Alonso's got more pace, so that's what we should be doing. Focus on the driver who's got the pace this weekend. And unfortunately, this time it's not Ocon. So hopefully, what we'll see now is Alonso starting to close the gap. He's going to get Russell. He's set the fastest lap. And he's took Russell. Ocon's took him as well, as has Gasly. That's exactly what we wanted to see. So Alonso will drop down to standard now. Allow him to settle in behind Hamilton for now. And he can spend a bit of time sat in there. Ocon
DRS is disabled.
obviously going late into the race. And it suits us if there's a safety car later on in this race. It would be perfect for us if it can come in around 5 laps time. But that's yet to be seen. Alonso is just kind of not far behind Hamilton. He might even be able to take Hamilton if we can get him to close that gap a little bit. Looking at the interval, it's 3 seconds at the moment. Ocon's just dropped behind Russell. But again, I'm not too concerned about that because I feel like his race is really going to start once we get him onto the softs. I feel like the time differential is going to be massive once he's onto them. Where is Alonso sitting at the moment? He is just... You can just see Hamilton in the distance. There's not a lot of gap between them. But hopefully in the next few laps we'll see him get into DRS range. We have just seen a Sonoda spin coming out of the castle section. What a weird place to spin. That is a really odd place for him to have spun. I'm not entirely sure how he's managed that. What we might get, I've just realised,
Fuel delta, please.
is
Okay.
Ocon's going to be pitting late in this race onto softs when everybody else is on hards. We might see our first Alpine fastest lap of the race. There's been a crash. What's going on? Sector 1. So let's look above us first. We've got all of our drivers here. There does appear to be everybody there. I can't figure out what's gone on here. Nobody appears to be out of the race. Let's advance it a little bit further. Let's jump on board with Alonso. Can we see anything going on? Stroll has crashed on turn 3. So he's just kind of... Ooh. Lost the back end. I was really hoping we were going to have a safety car pit Ocon, and it would have been a big moment in the race for us. It was nearly exactly what I wanted as well. Unfortunately, it doesn't come off for us. But we are potentially going to see Ocon get the fastest lap. I think we're going to actually properly try and go for it. We'll give him a lap of like push, attack and deploy to try and get ourselves a point for fastest lap for the first time in this career mode. We're going to pit Ocon now. 26 laps on these softs is their tyre life, and we've got 15 laps of the race to go. That sounds good to me, Ocon.
Right, let's box now, please.
Alonso hopefully will get in touch with Hamilton over the next few laps. He's still kind of that 2 seconds behind. But now here comes Ocon towards the pit stops. We need a good pit stop, please.
Yeah, copy that. Understood.
Pit limiter on.
Where's he going to come out as well is a big question here. On go the softs. Out comes Ocon from the pits. Is this Ricardo? No, this is a Williams, so they'll have to let him pass. So 13th Ocon comes out at. But now he's got a chance. Can he push
Watch for fuel.
Copy.
and get himself back into the points? He's not that far behind the cars ahead. And at this point now, we're going to tell him to attack, push, deploy, just as he comes down the straight. And let's jump on board. Can he go ahead and get the fastest lap of the race? This could be a huge moment if he can. Alonso's closed the gap to Hamilton at the moment. Ocon through sector 1 goes green. Can we get a little bit more out of him? Through sector 2. We do need to conserve a bit of fuel with Alonso as well, which is a concern. The best part about going for this where we have with Ocon is we're doing it while he's got the free air. Let's put him into overtake for the main straight. He's gone purple in sector 2. Can he go purple in sector 3 and get the fastest lap? He certainly can. So now we'll drop everything down.
Can we do lift and coast?
And hopefully he can get himself
Coast required.
a few points. We need him now to get into the points, because otherwise that fastest lap means nothing. We're getting them to conserve a little bit now, just so that we've got the fuel to get to the end of the race. Gearbox is showing a bit of wear. That's concerning. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems for Ocon towards the end of this race. I think we can tell him to go aggressive. He's quite good at his tyre management. Alonso dropping down to 2 seconds behind Hamilton as we tell him to conserve his fuel. We're going to go back to balance. We're going to tell him to deploy. And ERS is drained. Well, that was worth it. Ocon is closing in on Lando Norris elsewhere on track. And we've got yellow flags. We don't know what they were for. It was an Albon spin. We don't need to see that. Nobody cares. We're going to tell Alonso to go... You know what? We'll tell him to go attack. Let's see if he can get at Hamilton. Then if we can get him past Hamilton... Esteban Ocon has overtaken Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton has been overtaken by Fernando Alonso. Big moments here for Alpine. Down the straight, Alonso able to keep Hamilton out of DRS range. Meanwhile, Ocon, he's still got 5 seconds to gain on Bottas. I'm not sure he's going to be able to catch him. Particularly because for both drivers at the minute, we're needing to conserve fuel. And that could come back to bite us. Let's have a look at the tyres. So you've got 3 cars on softs at the moment. But I think fuel's going to be our problem here. Because Alonso's fallen off Hamilton because he's trying to conserve fuel. And he's now got George Russell breathing down his back. And Ocon currently is not able to make a dent in the gap to Bottas. Maybe this is a lesson learned. Maybe we need to stop going with the underfueling. Particularly by 2 laps, I think, is too much to underfuel. What's also concerning is, at the moment, Alonso isn't gaining that fuel back. And the same could be said for Ocon. We're on the last lap and they've both... This could be disaster. This could be absolute disaster for Alpine. Because we're going to run out of fuel. We might be about to run out of fuel. Oh no. Oh no. Alonso's out. Alonso's out of fuel. Ocon's out of fuel.
Okay. Sorry, mate.
It's disaster in Azerbaijan.
Retire the car. This is not safe anymore.
Okay.
Disaster in Azerbaijan. Oh no. What's funny is we're still 12th and 13th. But an absolute disaster for Alpine as we lose points, huge points, to Mercedes. That is a lesson learned. I am not under fueling cars again. We've lost out on, I mean, Alonso would have been 6th or 7th, 8 or 6 points. Ocon was probably losing out on points, unfortunately. He did get fastest lap, which is nice. But disaster for Alpine. It is, once again, Alpine. Well, disaster for Alpine here in Azerbaijan. But nevertheless, we're going to be off to Canada next, where we will hopefully be taking a new chassis with us. I'm really trying to stay motivated after what's just happened. We might have to bring in a couple of these chassis as emergencies so that we can get them on the car in time for Canada. That might be something that I look to do. If you have enjoyed that, then leave a like down below. Comment Alpine if you've made it to this point in the episode. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And thank you very much for watching.